The Exorcism of Anneliese Michel. Could a young woman's tragic death really be the result of demonic possession, or was it something far more sinister? The story of Anneliese Michel's exorcism is a heart-wrenching mystery that still haunts people to this day. Was her fate sealed by the supernatural, or did something else take control of her life? This is the story of a young woman named Anneliese Michel, who died as a result of a string of exorcisms. This is not a made-up horror story. Rather, it is the true story of a woman who suffered unimaginable agony with disastrous results. Allow me to transport you to Bavaria, Germany, in the 1960s. Born in 1952, Anneliese Michel was up in a devoutly Catholic household and was a devout young lady. Everything appeared normal at first. However, Anneliese's life took a horrifying turn in 1973. It started with little symptoms, such as mood swings, odd sensations, and blacking out episodes. Her health rapidly declined, and before long, the paranormal began to interfere in her life in a way that would call into question our understanding of mental illness and possession. Annalisa started having odd symptoms when she was 16. At first, these appeared to be episodes of perplexity, memory loss, and blackouts. She began to hear voices telling her that she would burn in hell and that she was damned. However, the symptoms grew increasingly unsettling over time. She began speaking in languages like Latin and Hebrew that she was unable to understand. She claimed to have seen demon sightings and developed a physical phobia of religious symbols such as holy water and crosses. She was initially diagnosed by doctors with temporal lobe epilepsy, a disorder that can result in altered states of consciousness, seizures, and hallucinations. Despite using anticonvulsants, she didn't get better. It actually became worse. Her conduct grew unpredictable and frightening as she started to lose her sense of reality. Due to their strong religious beliefs, her family looked to their faith for guidance. They thought that Anneliese was under demonic possession rather than a medical illness. They believed that something much darker, something malevolent was responsible for the voices she heard, the visions she saw, and the physical symptoms she displayed, rather than epilepsy. Annaliese's health had gotten so bad by 1975 that she refused to eat because she thought she was possessed and that demons were keeping her from eating. Desperate to find a solution, her parents turned to the church for assistance. Exorcisms are uncommon in Germany, and the local bishop must give his approval. Annaliese's family sought Father Ernst Alt, a priest with exorcism experience. Father Alt started to watch Anneliese, and after hearing the voices she was speaking, seeing her violent outbursts, and seeing her odd conduct, he concluded that something was definitely wrong. He asked the bishop for permission to exorcise Anneliese, and the request was approved. Beginning in 1975, Annaliese's exorcisms would last for over a year before coming to a terrible end in 1976. Anneliese had 67 exorcism sessions between 1975 and 1976, each lasting several hours. Father Ernst Alt and Father Arnold Rentz, the two priests who conducted the exorcisms, were certain that Anneliese was possessed. The events that followed were among the most upsetting times in her life and one of the most contentious periods in exorcism history. Anneliese exhibited actions during these sessions that appeared to be well outside the range of typical human experience. She would exhibit unnatural strength, yell, and convulse. The priests were said to have heard her yell, "I am the devil, and I will kill you." Horrible situations abound throughout the sessions. Anneliese would strike out at the priests, claiming that she couldn't be liberated because of the demons inside of her. She would yell, swear, and sometimes assault others in her immediate vicinity. Her capacity to talk in languages she had never mastered, including old languages like Latin and Hebrew, was one of the most terrifying parts of the exorcisms. Throughout the exorcism sessions, she would occasionally scream for hours in different languages. Since Anneliese was unfamiliar with these languages and had no explanation for her ability to speak them, the priests thought this was unmistakable proof of demonic possession. Some of the exorcism sessions have been preserved on audio recordings, and they are just as unsettling as you might think. Anneliese can be heard growling, yelling in several tones, and acting strangely on the recordings. Her sounds sounded unnatural, and she even asserted that she was under the influence of several demons, including Lucifer, Judas Iscariot, Nero, and even Adolf Hitler. According to reports, the priest thought Anneliese was harboring several demons inside of her because every time they attempted to exorcise one, another would appear. Anneliese's physical health significantly deteriorated during the exorcism sessions. Because she thought that the devils inside of her were stopping her from eating, she grew malnourished and refused to eat. Persuaded that exorcisms were their only option, her family took no action to seek medical assistance. Anneliese not only refused to eat, but her body also started to exhibit symptoms of severe malnutrition. She fell in weight. Despite her increasing weakness, the priests in her family persisted in focusing on the exorcisms because they thought the demons were the real source of her pain. Despite Anneliese's physical deterioration, the sessions continued. While praying constantly and displaying intense bodily and mental agitation, the priest noted that Anneliese felt a sense of religious fervor during the exorcism sessions. She had clumps of hair. She was no longer in control of her body. She was so frail at one time that she needed help to move, but her family and the priest demanded that the exorcisms go on. Anneliese Michel passed away on July 1, 1976, when she was 23 years old. She refused to eat during the exorcism procedure, which led to hunger and dehydration, which were ultimately identified as the cause of death. Extreme physical deterioration was discovered in her body. The medical examiners verified that she was significantly underweight and that malnutrition had caused her physique to nearly entirely deteriorate. Germany and the world were rocked by her death. Following an early inquiry by the authorities, Anneliese's parents and the two priests were taken into custody and accused of negligent homicide. Following Anneliese Michel's death, the trial gained international attention and became a sensation. The priests who carried out the exorcisms, Father Ernst Alt and Father Arnold Renz, justified their conduct by saying they thought they were rescuing Anneliese from the demons within her. They asserted that they had behaved in good faith, seeking to assist her when medical science had failed and adhering to church traditions. The prosecution countered that Anneliese died from a treatable illness because the priests and her parents disregarded medical advice. They argued that doctors, not priests, ought to have taken care of Anneliese's failing mental health. Serious concerns were brought up by the case regarding the place of religion in healthcare and the risks associated with using faith to treat severe mental illness. Ultimately, Anneliese's parents and the priests were both convicted of manslaughter. Although they received prison sentences, they were not imprisoned since the sentences were suspended. This decision generated a great deal of public discussion, with some people siding with the defendants because they thought they had done everything they could to help Anneliese, while others thought they were to blame for her untimely demise. The continuing argument: mental illness or possession? One of the most contentious exorcism cases in history is still the tale of Anneliese Michel. While some contend that she was actually possessed, others assert that her suffering was caused by an undiagnosed mental disease. Numerous specialists have offered their opinions on the matter in the years following her passing. Some people think that a neurological condition like epilepsy or psychosis may have been the origin of Anneliese's symptoms, including her seizures and altered states of consciousness. Others, pointing to her actions and the religious setting in which the exorcisms occurred, insist that the case was actually one of possession. The recordings of her exorcism sessions continue to serve as a terrifying reminder of the case's mystery and horror. Some people view Anneliese Michel's experience as a warning about the perils of putting religious convictions ahead of medical care. Others find it to be a chilling story of a young woman who was tortured by uncontrollable powers, which ultimately caused her to pass away. The sadness of Anneliese Michel's narrative cannot be denied. Regardless of whether you think her death was caused by possession or a mental disease, she suffered greatly throughout her life, and her family and the priests, who thought they were assisting her, made a number of decisions that ultimately led to her death. We must constantly strike a balance between our faith and the reality of science and medicine, as this narrative reminds us. It also makes us face the fact that there may be things in this world that we still don't fully understand, things that are perhaps too scary to even imagine. What do you think then? Was Anneliese Michel's tale one of tragedy and mental illness, or was she actually possessed? In any case, her tale continues to rank among the most sad and unsettling in exorcism history. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more chilling mysteries and true crime stories.